Bring back our friends. Tammy, let me start with you on this one. It seems to me that the response of the elites to what's been happening is not to question their own record or their policies or their approach. It's simply to treat this whole populist movement as something of an aberration. We've just got to, get rid of Donald Trump, overturn Brexit, whatever, and then we can get back to business as usual. They just don't seem to understand the seriousness of this change.
Well, look, part of the problem here in America is that they saw that they were able to do that after the Reagan victory. They saw that that was a very different dynamic, and then they waited 8 years, and then they were able to begin to just use the establishment again to reverse those gains. And it was like a bad dream for them. They think that's going to happen again. They are mistaken. And not just for the Republicans because of the election of Donald Trump, but also the Democrats, right? I think that there is an establishment view there that these upstarts on the left are just going to have to be quelled, and that is going to be a fight in the next 2 years. But I think that they may be underestimating what that fight is. Keep in mind, with the elections coming up, at the 2020 elections, it's one thing to have a view of what's going to be happening in the presidency. But remember, there's going to be a lot of primaries where still it's going to be the left versus the establishment. And those fights will once again be public. The Republicans have already gone through it. They've already gone through it. Right. The president is, I think, in a very good position. He has been remarkable. I do not doubt that he will actually thrive in this new environment. And, of course, the American people know he's got to come through with some more working on some of the details of his promises. But he's going to thrive, and he will be a constant reminder of what the populism is. Teslin mentioned, of course, the transparency. Him bringing in those cameras in that meeting in the White House was genius. And that's what we want to see. And, of course, no one else wants to do it that way, but he is not going to let up, and I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly. Teslin, Tammy made a really good point there about the populism on the left and how it's changing things there as well. Of course, you were part of the start of that with the Bernie Sanders campaign. One thing I'm really interested in is, even as the 2020 race is taking shape, already you're seeing the lead that Bernie Sanders set in terms of not taking money from super PACs and raising money from small donors. That seems to be becoming something that is, almost something that is disqualifying to a Democrat candidate if they don't follow that path. Do you see it playing out that way?
Yeah, I do, actually. This is really interesting. I always say all the time, I joined the Bernie Sanders campaign not because I'm a socialist, because I'm not and I never will be, but because of his populist ideas of being anti-establishment. He did a really good job of bringing that energy. But I am concerned, Steve, that a lot of his moves that he made with, trying to make amends with Hillary Clinton and, still work, which we understand he's a sitting senator, so obviously he had to work, with more moderate Democrats. But there are some folks out there that follow Bernie Sanders who were disappointed, in a lot of the decisions that he made post-election. So the left, Tammy's absolutely right about that. There will absolutely be a fight on the left side. Right now, everybody's singing and getting along and saying, anybody but Trump. But at one point in time through those primaries, you can better believe there'll be a lot of dirt digging and a lot of shovels on people's back to pretty much bring down whoever's necessary. And so people are looking for more of a populist candidate that is not necessarily socialist, that can still be somewhat moderate, but against the elite. And it's a very sticky line, so a very fine line. So these candidates who are saying, oh, I'm so progressive, I'm all about this, I'm all about that, just prepare for the tape to be rolled, because we'll be able to go back and see for the last 5, 10, 15 years, where you really stand in your position. And that's the good thing about having multiple candidates. Let's really dig down deep and see if people really mean what they say and if they can back it up and walk it like they talk it, like is what I call it.
Very interesting. Very good summary there. Populist candidate who's not a socialist. Interesting. Lisa, what do you see as the future for let's just look at the GOP establishment, the never Trumpers, all that gang. Where are they? What's going to happen with them?
Well, I actually think regarding that, look, President Trump is so politically astute, and he has never given credit for it. He was among a field of 17 different candidates, and he was able to see both the primary field and the general election field better than any other candidate, better than any other Republican, better than Hillary Clinton. And what he saw is that there was a group of people in this country who really felt left behind by President Obama and the Democrat politics. Because if you remember, President Obama's sole focus and the Democrats' sole focus was identity politics. So you had a lot of people in this country, a lot of blue-collar workers who felt left behind by the Democrat Party, who felt ignored for 8 years under President Obama. And President Trump saw that. He was able to tap into that anger. So I think heading into 2020, right, President Trump should not be underestimated. He sees things in a political way that a lot of people don't, and he knows how to message and he knows how to connect with people in a way that a lot of normal politicians don't.
Great points, all. Thank you so much. Of course, we'll be following all of this very closely on this show.